Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, all of the 0 viewers right now. That's cool. That's cool. It's all right. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you all out there. I am Thomas Metal 75, Eric from the Massachusetts Beer Review channel of YouTube. Again, this is Massachusetts Beer Review. Today is March 17, 2016. It is St. Patrick's Day, and as you can't tell from this video, we're going to have a little bit of an extravaganza, if you want to call it that, this evening. We have a couple of panelists here with me today. We have Maria Devon from upstate New York. We have Lee Poznansky from Poznansky Beer Reviews in New York State. We have Eric Anderson from the West Coast.
Hi, I'm Eric. Go fuck yourself.
And we have Bryson back with us from sometimes the Karaoke Wednesday nights. Hola.
Well, yep, thank you.
So, yes, it is St. Patrick's Day, and I guess St. Patrick's Day is not really supposed to have anything to do with drinking, but, you know, United States is crazy like that. I guess today was the day that the patron St. Patrick of Ireland died, and he was the one that he drove snakes out of Ireland. I'm not sure that that's a true statement, but I guess he died today, and he brought Christianity over to Ireland. So that's his claim to fame. His claim to fame was not inventing Guinness, no. But today I will be drinking the Guinness Draft. That's what I'm going to choose today. What is everybody else bringing to the extravaganza today?
Well, Eric, you know, anytime there's an extravaganza, you can count me in. I've got the Guinness Extra Stout.
Nice.
I'm really excited to have this. This is already a multiple purchase since they started importing this directly from Ireland. So, yay. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Lee, what will you be drinking this evening?
Guinness Nitro IPA. I've had Guinness and I've had an IPA before, but I've never mixed them. So this should be quite a treat. I'm really looking forward to how this is going to taste.
Awesome. And Eric Anderson, you have the, do you have a Canadian or an Irish brewed extra stout?
Well, when I just did the Guinness previously, it was indeed from Canada, and this is indeed from Ireland. So, yes, we have just got the new Ireland batch.
Awesome. And Bryson, what are you bringing to the discussion?
I'm bringing the underrated Murphy's Irish Stout.
There you go.
So,
all right. Sweet.
We'll give it a shot. So versus Guinness, at least. So.
Excellent. So if you all don't know by now, the Guinness Draft is per 12 fluid ounces, it is only 125 calories, making it pretty relatively a lighter style beer, and it is 4.2% alcohol by volume. And I believe, for the information that I looked up on the internet, this brewery was started by Arthur Guinness in Dublin, Ireland in 1759. And he signed a $9,000 lease for like $45 annually or something like that. So I guess he really made out pretty good on that little purchase he made. Yeah. That was December 31st, 1759. He signed a 9,000-year lease at £45 per annum for the unused brewery. So he bought a brewery that wasn't even being used, the St. James Gate. So that was pretty cool. And then I also found out that the company moved its headquarters to London at the beginning of the Anglo-Irish Trade War in 1932. And since 1997, they became a partner with Diageo Brands, which does a lot of different Irish liquors and beers, and not even just Irish liquors or beers, but they're a pretty big conglomerate, kind of like InBev almost, but they have a lot of different liquor brands as well. And for the Irish Draft and the Murphys, they both come in these nitrogen widget cans, so you gotta wait, you gotta pour it and wait for the cascading effect to finish. And you'll hear a little bit of like a screech or a squeal or whatever it is. And you can almost pour these cans right down the middle, and it won't affect the pour. You can never almost screw up a nitrogen can. And I guess Lee's got a nitro can as well.
This looks a little different than
And
mine.
I as well.
Oh, I've been heathen drinking out of the bottle. What have I been doing?
You've been drinking too much today, good sir.
Not enough. That's the problem. I don't know what to think. Can't operate without alcohol.
Yeah.
So I guess we can let yourself and Maria sort of do a little bit of a discussion on your extra stouts, since all of us nitro guys are waiting for our beers to settle right now.
Okay, well, mine pours beautifully. It's as dark as it could possibly be in the browns, and there's just a beautiful clarity. If you hold it up to the light, you'll see like this faint little place where you can see that the beer is wonderfully clear. The head was creamy and just khaki colored, fell luxuriously, and the scent is outrageous with just like big, bold, roasty malt. Some like light baker's chocolate over the top of that, and no hop scents at all. Just a lovely scent. And this one, I'm not sure what the ABV is on this, but this is a little bit bigger, I think, than the draft. As far as
I think it's probably 6%. I know that the Canadian version is 6.
Yeah, so it's just at the ABV for strong beer, and that should make it just really open up as it comes up to a nice sipping temperature in the glass. And I like that they give me a pint and some ounces, so they're expecting me to enjoy it.
Awesome. So what would you what else could you add to that there, Eric Anderson?
Well, I find it interesting because before I remembered that my previous beer was Canadian, I immediately thought, like, wow, it smells bolder. As soon as I cracked it, it seems a little bit chocolatier. I have like a little bit, almost like coffee on the nose. Like, I just didn't really catch those notes as strongly, as dominant as they appear to be in the Irish export.
Would you say it tastes the same, or does it have more of those roasted, smoky kind of malt notes in chocolate?
Yes, that's what I just said. It does have more. I feel it does have more the roasted.
So the aroma definitely goes along with the taste very nicely.
Yes.
Because sometimes you'll get that in a lot of different craft beers where the aroma and the taste aren't necessarily, one and the same. But that's pretty interesting that ends up that way. So you prefer this Irish version or the Canadian one?
It smells almost like coffee when you really just give it a smell. Like, they almost get like the scent of like roasted coffee beans.
Excellent. So Lee, how is your Nitro IPA? I believe that the Nitro IPA that you're drinking is a British style. It's an English style, so it's not meant to sort of mimic really hoppy, really crazy, over-the-top bitter flavors that American IPAs might give you.
Yeah, I noticed that it's not like a very harsh IPA like I'm used to. It's more like, especially because it's going with the more creamy side of a regular Guinness.
Yeah.
It almost, I don't want to say dulls the hop bitterness down, but it almost like calms it down, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It works really nicely with the creamy mouthfeel and very interesting style of hops they're using. Like, I only know like one, and that's Cascade hop. And
I think they say it on the can what they use.
Yeah, one of them's Cascade, and there's like a few others that I've never even heard of before. So it's very good, and you do get some of the malt in there. It's not too hoppy. It's very well balanced in here. Although I do want to say one thing though: the head around the sides, it's like a regular Guinness draft, but the top of the head is more like a regular beer. It's not as a creamy head as you would think. Yeah, it's not like the Guinness draft.
Right. So that's the first. So you say that's the first time you've had that Guinness Nitro IPA.
Yep, first time.
And your first impressions are.
It's good. I like it.
Are going pretty good.
Yep.
Excellent. So I'll reserve comment on the draft for the moment, since I think pretty much everybody in like over 130 countries around the world has had Guinness draft, and the Guinness line has so many different variants of their beers, whether it's a UK brewed version or an Irish brewed version, or actually a UK version where there are different alcohol percentages and their recipes are just a little bit different. But I'll go to Bryson to talk about a non-Guinness product in the Murphy's, Irish Stout.
Yes, the Murphy's. It was interesting. I've heard a lot of people first off compare Murphy's to Guinness. They fall into the same category easily. And I've had both. I enjoy both. Having this one now, I had Guinness not too long ago, so I remember it quite, quite well. Compared to this, I mean, when you first kind of smell the nose on this stout, the Murphy Stout, you get this kind of round, very balanced, mellow chocolate and coffee kind of smell. Not burnt coffee, but you get the sweet. I mean, it's baker's chocolate almost, but there's a sweetness to it also. And it's really nice, just the nose on itself. And then when you drink it, it follows through in the taste as well. It's actually even a little bit, the consistency, the mouthfeel, it's actually a little bit heavier than a Guinness. I always associated Guinness with to be a bit more on the watery side. So when I'm drinking this, there's more, it just feels like there's more to this beer in that sense. I mean, it has its... and in that sense, watery can be good. It's refreshing. You can drink it. Excellent. It's great. This is just, it's more of a traditional stout to me in that sense. And I know you can classify stouts in a lot of different ways. A lot of people have different ideas of what a stout should be. And I think this really just nails the mark for just your traditional Irish stout. It has decent body to it. It has the chocolate notes. It has the coffee notes. Has the roasted barley. There's a little bit of a hop bitterness presence to really just finish it all out. And it's a very decent stout. I would highly recommend it.
Excellent. They say on Beer Advocate. They say on Beer Advocate that this is the Murphy's Pub Draft is 4%, so it's 0.2 less than the Guinness Draft here that I'm drinking. And as the Guinness is at St. James Gate in Dublin, the Murphy's is out of Cork, Ireland, which is a little. I think it's more towards the southern, probably the southeast coast of Ireland, if I got my geography correct. I'm not really looking at a map right now.
Yes.
So
it says it's canned by Heineken.
Exactly. That's right. So the Bros give that beer. The Bros give the Irish Stout, the Murphy's, a 93. So they think that stuff is outstanding. And they give Guinness Draft. Makes sense. They give Guinness Draft, I'm trying to look that up here before I get to my assessment. They give the Guinness Draft only a 70. So apparently the Bros are thinking night and day in terms of Guinness Draft and Murphy's. And I do recall thinking pretty highly of the Murphy's over the Guinness, to tell the truth, but I haven't had that in a while.
I've never had the Murphy's.
The three big ones are the Guinness Draft, the Murphy's Irish Stout, and then there's one called Beamish, which I don't usually see. And they all come in the nitro cans. I usually don't see Beamish at a whole bunch of places, but they're all pretty much really comparatively the same kind of a style. And as far as the Guinness is concerned, as it being as dry, obviously as in the name would suggest, it is a pretty dry kind of a smell and in the taste, but the smell that I get from the Guinness Draft is just lightly roasted barley malt, maybe a tiny bit of a chocolate, and even a sort of a lightly roasted coffee scent. But again, it is a pretty light and watery and pretty easy beer to drink. I would say that the creaminess of the head gives the texture, or gives the body a little bit of heft, but It's still a pretty lightly oriented beer, and I think for people that say, "Oh, Guinness, it's like drinking a meal in a glass, or it's like drinking liquid bread," well, I don't see that. I don't see that all that all that hefty and all that hard to put down. I think if you've never really had dark-oriented beers before, even had a stout, this might be a good one. Definitely a good one to try. It's going to be easy to get in your area, but don't go into don't go to the store and see something that says, like, I don't know, Bourbon County coffee brand stout and think, oh, well, Guinness is a stout. Well, it must taste like Guinness because it says stout on it. Not all stouts are created equal, especially the Irish variety are not created equal. I made that mistake after I turned 21 and really falling in love with Guinness, thinking that, Bourbon County, just the original stout. I like Guinness. I'm going to like that beer. And at the time, I did not like that. I did not like that Bourbon County stout. But I think this is a lot easier style of beer to get acquainted with than a big, bold imperial stout as your first stout ever to try. So it's pretty good, but it is on the watery side, which makes for the drinkability to be super astronomically high.
Yes.
All right. I'm also drinking Jameson right now.
Nice. Jameson.
I did include spirits in our review because it's Irish.
Same brewery as that makes Guinness. What's the name of that brewery?
I don't know that they make. I don't know that they make Jameson in the same place as Guinness. I don't think that's correct. But I think you're thinking of the St. James Gate in Dublin.
Yeah. I mean, I almost enjoy this more than I'm enjoying the beer.
Really?
I find myself not drinking them in proportion and being like, God, I just want to keep drinking my Jameson. It's so good.
Oh shit, man!
I put just couple ice cubes in there. I drink it on the rocks. I think it definitely lightens the flavor, makes it definitely changes the flavor.
That matches well with an extra stout. Pretty good, is what you're saying.
There's the first time I really thought that with the Canadian, but now they seem to be less compatible than I remember, because this is so just light. I mean, there's like a light pear flavor. It's just almost like honey and pear. It tastes a little bit of citrus and grass. It's so delicate and light and smooth that the heaviness of the stout there is not necessarily compatible.
That's very interesting. Very. Now, Irish whiskeys, as far as I understand, Irish whiskeys are pretty much, I mean, you can find some really good examples and really craft and well-made examples of Irish whiskeys, but traditionally an Irish whiskey is a pot still whiskey where they literally put it through these copper pots.
Still, the malt is distilled 3 times, I believe.
Yep, and
blended,
as opposed to a Scotch whiskey, which is only distilled twice. I guess the point of distilling it that many times and doing it through the pot still the way they do it is to sort of lighten up the whiskey and make it a little bit more palatable and easier to drink. Although there are a lot of guys and people that I've heard from on YouTube and read on forums or on reviews of whiskeys, because I am a fan of bourbons and scotches and Irish whiskey as well too. A lot of people are not so fond of Irish whiskeys because they do that distillation 3 different times. It's like at that point in time, what kind of flavors are left in your whiskey? There's so many different proteins and byproducts of that distillation process that once you do that filtering of 3 different times, what you're left with is a pretty plain Jane kind of a liquor, where if you didn't distill it that many times, maybe you would have some of that flavor left. But I think really Jameson like with the Bushmills, has really become a brand that's all about its mass marketing and getting it out to the market. I mean, it's not a bad product. Would you agree with that statement?
Well, okay.
Even as lightly oriented as it is, it's not that bad, right?
I think it's a very good product. I actually myself do generally prefer bourbon. I like the flavor, the very
What's going
powerful
on?
flavor of bourbon. However, I cannot deny that there's something excellent about the smoothness and the drinkability of Jameson. I mean, it's a very drinkable whiskey. And it has its place. It's very good. I'm not going to say it's a poor product. I mean, and that's kind of like that whole argument to me is kind of stupid because it's basically like saying, well, why would I drink pilsners when I can drink ales?
Mm-hmm.
And I think just that type of thinking is not. I'm all about being inclusive. I like pilsners and I like ales and I like porters. And all the. So I think that the smoothness of Jameson absolutely has its place. It's a fantastic product. It's absolutely delicious. I can just pound this. It's excellent on the rocks. And generally, I do prefer bourbon because it has more flavor, but that doesn't mean I'm going to turn my nose up at Jameson.
Right. Yeah, it's all got to be, especially in this beer community that I put myself into.
Smiling at me like I am.
To be when you watch a beer review online, or you watch anybody do a liquor or spirit review online. In some point of this review, it's all going to end up being an opinion-based thing. What I view as a really good beer, or what I view of this Guinness draft, somebody that likes, say, I don't know, that likes the worldwide stout by Dogfish at like 18%, may look down on a beer like Guinness and just say, that's an inferior beer. But if that's what that person truly thinks, I can't really stop them from thinking what they think. If they like that beer and not Guinness, then they have that free range to say so. So all that's opinion based, and just to keep you in mind, everybody, you don't have to listen to the noise and
great again. Make
and, all of that stuff. Just like what you like and dislike what you dislike. That's all. And John keeps trying to call us from Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah, why are you shutting down John?
Why isn't he on?
I don't know. Let me tell this guy, John, click the link. My link. Click my link.
He said he never got a link. That's why I left to go talk to him, and then I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah, if you click, literally what happens, folks, is when we're in this review, you can actually copy a link and send it to somebody, and then they'll bring them live into our Google Plus chat. So since I gave him that link, hopefully he'll stop calling. Otherwise, this will be getting annoying. But maybe I can invite him and see what goes on in that regard.
Hey, so Maria, if I do say something that you disagree with, I have ultimate respect for you, because every time you talk about a beer, you're just like high level, just like you nail every single note. Anything I was gonna say, you've got it all down, and then like twice as much on top of that. And I'm like, damn it, Maria, so good. So if I ever say anything and you're like, God damn it, Eric, what are you thinking? Give me your point of view. I'm never the kind of person who's gonna be upset about it. I'm just about beer knowledge and conversation, and always into it, I blather on about a lot of stuff and have no idea what I'm talking about most of the time.
Cheers to that, Eric. Cheers to that.
Cheers. Thank you. Cheers to that. I like to just have a good time. I learned everything I know about beer just from hanging around on like Rate Beer and Beer Advocate, and asking questions. I just like it. I like it a lot. And y'all know me on Facebook, right? I'm that way. I have my pinky up. I want my beer in a glass. I want the good beer. I want the pretty food. I want, so I try. I want to be the Mrs. Howell.
Nothing wrong with that.
So I'm about ready. I've been saving up bacon fat and making different bacon caramel batches, because I'm going to take bacon caramel and brew it into a beer. Now, off the top of your head, which do you think of these caramels would be best in a stout? Okay, there is maple syrup bacon fat caramel with possibly with bourbon in it.
Ooh.
Maria's like, nah.
Sounds really sweet.
Well,
bacon fat bourbon. Yeah, bacon fat bourbon stout. That sounds good.
That sounds very sweet. That sounds very sweet.
Well, all this
Sounds
is
like
caramel. It's
diabetes.
caramel, so inherently it's gonna be sweet. I mean, it's caramel.
What are
Well,
the
I mean, all those though, they accent sweetness. So I mean, it's gonna be a lot. I think.
So
I don't like bacon and chocolate and bacon like in everything. So I mean that's where my head is at. Let's have the other choices.
Okay, so I could do bacon and guava paste. Now that would be it. I don't think it would work in a stout.
Really?
Guava.
But I think that caramel is actually absolutely delicious as a caramel. I don't think it would work in a stout, but I think that there is possibly a certain type of beer that would work in. And it would be interesting to see, that in. I would like to see that, as crazy as this sounds, maybe just a slight amount of it brewed into almost like a shock top type of citrusy wheat beer. I think could be interesting. Then there's so another type. There's this stuff called green walnut preserve, which is crazy and no one knows this green walnut preserve stuff. But it's packed in this syrup that when combined, it complements meat very well. It has a very thicker flavor. So there's that bacon fat and green walnut preserve. One that
I like the walnut.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So far, I like the walnut the best. The green
That sounds
walnut.
good.
You know what? The green walnut has been my #1 pick for the stout. It's a very interesting flavor. It's literally walnuts that have been somehow jellied, essentially. Shell, I believe. It's a very strange thing, but it's got this very rich, deep flavor that's excellent. But the new one on my radar is pumpkin preserve. Okay,
What?
mix the pumpkin preserve with the bacon fat, and you'll get obviously a pumpkin flavor out of it. It was also going to be very meaty. So I'm thinking it's going to be either the green walnut or the pumpkin, but we don't know yet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we have we finally we have Jean-Pierre Paul, the TV Rambler.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Welcome, man.
And I notice he's drinking the Audible Ale from from Red Hook.
Right. This is my first time, and I was going to do a review of this, and I wasn't able to get the Guinness I wanted to get tonight. So I said I had this in the fridge, and I said, oh well. So this is going to be my first time trying this. So let me go get my glass.
That's the I believe that's the beer produced for the Dan Patrick or the Dan.
Exactly. It is. That's the one. Dan and the Danettes talk about this beer all the time. Audible Ale.
I've had it a couple of times, and it's sort of like a Guinness draft in the sense of it's lightly bodied and oriented, and you can just put those things away.
Right. Let's see. ABV on this is, again, this is my first time trying this, 4.7. So we'll see. Let's see what happens. So.
Very excellent. So I want to go to Lee Poznansky over here in the great state of New York. How is this? How was your first time with the Nitro IPA treating you?
This IPA is so good. You could taste that. I think there's definitely caramel malts in this IPA because you can kind of taste it.
Mm-hmm.
The head is sticking around, leaving some pretty lacing on the glass, as you can see. And the hops, as I said, they're not too overpowering. You're not getting a Sierra Nevada Torpedo. You're more likely getting let's see, what kind of, like a Saranac, like pale ale almost, basically.
Yeah, I think the English style of an IPA is designed to be more malt forward and maybe even just a little bit earthy or grassy in the hop department. Is that kind of what you're getting?
Yep, definitely more earthy, grassy, hop notes. You're not getting the traditional like grapefruit that you usually get in your most IPAs. Like I'm not really picking up any grapefruit or not really any really citrus notes. More like earthy tones.
And by the way, one of our panelists here, Eric Anderson, says he dislikes that beer, and he didn't even finish the one that he drank the one time we had it with Louisiana Beer Reviews.
You know, okay, my thing about that beer is, okay, you're going to take this, like, Irish stout, then you're going to try and make it into an IPA, so it's like, to me, it just doesn't work, and it's kind of like, I'm not a big fan of Sinead O'Connor, but, like, she's cool. I'm okay with Sinead O'Connor.
Where are we going with this?
Okay?
It's Irish, by the way.
I can listen to it. I can get down with it. You know, like,
Nothing compares to you.
What's the one song?
Nothing compares to you.
Nothing compares to you, yeah.
That's your opinion.
I'm down with it, okay? But
I like this beer.
What's not okay is when Sinead O'Connor decides, you know, I'm really good at all this Irish music, but I'm going to go and do a reggae album. That reggae album was shit. Sinead O'Connor did a reggae album, and it made
Peter
no
Tosh
fucking
was,
sense.
I think, her influence in that.
Exactly what it's like with the Guinness IPA. Because it's not an IPA, it's a thick, like, nasty, bitter fucking brew that's no good and fails on everything.
Oh, wow.
In my humble opinion.
Wow.
That's your opinion. And you're totally
I wouldn't agree with that, but that's. I wouldn't agree with that, but yeah.
I think, and even myself included, until I had the second can of mine when I had that Nitro IPA, I think some people, especially in the United States, or that live around the world that like a craftier style of beer, I think the idea of a Nitro IPA sort of rubs them the wrong way, where they read the word IPA or they read the terminology IPA on the box of the beer.
Whatever you want to call it.
It's going to be like my American beers, and no, it's not supposed to be that way.
I dislike the Nitro too, I have to admit, and I dislike it in any style. It doesn't have to be IPA for me to dislike it. I just don't like Nitro at all. And I know I wouldn't even like that. I don't even want to try that beer because that is what it is. And
Sam's have jumped on. I'm sorry, Maria, but Sam's have jumped onto the Nitro bandwagon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why can't you have the nitrogen and the IPA? Like you guys talk about, like you add this thing and that thing, it just doesn't go like.
It does work though. It does work.
It does work.
It
absolutely changes the mouthfeel and makes it something just like I don't know. It feels wrong to me. Like when I get
it's a creamy mouthfeel of a draft with some extra hop tones added in that give it more complement of the flavor. It's not just that typical, you know what? Everything you get with regular Guinness, but you almost get more for your buck.
It's a shock. It's a shock to mainstream media craft beer culture. When you start mixing, IPAs and nitros, you're starting to, just create a whole new genre of different beer at that point, and style for that matter. And it really does work. I mean, like this in itself, the Nitro IPA, it's not your West Coast, not your East Coast IPA. It's a European style IPA, and an English one at that. So I think it certainly does fall in a category of its own. But it, really, like, I think as a lot of Americans, when we drink these European-style kind of, they're going to try to go for an IPA, like where it originated originally. It's kind of funny, like how we think it might taste bad, but it's just totally different way of looking at it, I guess, a different take on it.
Yeah,
but it works.
Listen, no, it doesn't work. It comes out flat. It's like ultra flat. It's like trying to be the bitterness just makes the like.
It's not flat.
It's nitro though. That's.
I know it's inherently
nitrogen.
Like the mouthfeel is so much flatter than the when I drink an IPA, I like the carbonation. I want the bite. That's why
that's the style difference though.
So well because it's like this citrusy bite with high carbonation that has this like bite of a mouthfeel. I mean, that's why
That's a West Coast IPA. That's
Yep.
I also like even the British IPAs are also, I find them very good. You know, that's a very different style, but also exceptional. But when you add the nitrous and you add it to what is essentially a stout, it just does not fucking work.
Yeah, I think the nitro part of that beer is throwing you
Heavy
for a loop a little bit.
IPA that is flat doesn't use nitro. That does not. It just doesn't work for me. I thought it was one of the grossest things I've ever drank in my fucking life.
Well, nothing. Well, I'm not going to
Oh
tell
my
what you
gosh, that's absurd. I'm sorry, but I mean, hey, what kind of beers have you been drinking?
I don't think Eric has had a lot of bottom of the barrel malt liquors before.
Yeah. Oh, there's that.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there tonight.
No, I have not heard of a malt liquor brewed in Ireland before.
Hey, everyone on the panel and the guys and Madam Maria. I wonder how well are the nitros are doing sales-wise. Because in my area, we've seen the Guinness Nitro IPA. Sam Adams, of course, has their nitro they put out. And what I've seen, I've seen some people just from time when I'm going to certain stores, supermarkets, they'll pick this and they'll get that, but of those nitros, and I don't see it really being like something that they're buying consistently versus say maybe a Lucky Buddha or maybe like I said, or maybe a Guinness Black Lager or maybe a Guinness Drought. Whatever beer that's the new thing right now. I don't see it being pushed, and I'm wondering if the nitro is kind of like maybe was a good idea, but I don't know.
I'm noticing that a lot of breweries are making nitro, whether they have the widget or they have something done to the beer themselves in the bottle. I'm noticing that a lot of breweries are putting out nitro beers, and that seems to be at this point in time, at least at one point last year when a lot of breweries were doing it, it seemed to be a really popular thing to do. I know that I'm trying to remember the name of the brewery. The Left Hand Brewing has a bunch of different nitro beers that I guess they've done something to the makeup of the beer where it has an enriched amount of CO2 or the nitrogen in the beer already, where they don't have to have the little widget balls to create the head on that. And those beers that they make are extremely popular. And I think I'm trying to remember. I think Oscar Blues did a nitro version of the Old Chub Scotch Ale. So again, I think the beer market is kind of like almost any other market where if enough people demand it and one product is really successful, then enough people are going to sort of want to ride the trend and ride the wave and see how long how long this nitro craze is going to last. But I don't see it immediately stopping. I don't know where it's going to, and I don't know if this whole trend is much more than a fad or not. I'm not sure.
Just like the root beer and the hard soda and the hard ginger ale and all that stuff.
Like the Not Your Father's
I think it's gimmicky too. I gotta admit, the Left Hand is so popular that Left Hand Milk Stout Nitro, that one is the tremendously popular one.
Yes.
But I don't know. I think it's a totally different experience. It makes the beer very mild. I don't think you're going to get your stone bitterness from an IPA, your bold IPA flavors from a nitro.
No.
IPA. I just think it's a different animal. And I think as far as it's selling around here, John, I think it's selling okay. I don't think it's hurting for sales. But it's not what I'm used to. I like the feel of the actual bubbles in the beer. Yeah. And I don't like the feel of the nitro at all. Not at all. And it's supposed to mimic cask, which it doesn't. It really doesn't. It does not mimic the cask experience at all.
So you're including the Guinness Draft within that?
Yeah, I don't like it. That's why I don't like it.
What were
I like Guinness. I like Guinness as a rule, but I just don't like the style of it. But I like the idea. Well, and it's like variants too, right? I mean, is it really another beer? you know, it's Sculpin, it's grapefruit Sculpin, it's habanero Sculpin, it's nitro Sculpin, it's dandelion.
Well, my assessment on that, my assessment on that is, if the variant of the beer isn't better than, isn't at least just as good, or if not even better than the original product, then why even bother with the variant? Like the grapefruit was, to me, I know a lot of people are crazy about the grapefruit Sculpin, and that was.
I was crazy about the grapefruit.
And I had the habanero before, and I'm just like, I'm not really into spicy beer, so that wasn't really my cup of tea. I haven't had the pineapple yet, but it's kind of like, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? I think the Sculpin was pretty good as it was. I mean, everything being grapefruit these days, you figure grapefruit, which it did work. I would say it worked, but I wouldn't say I liked it any better than Sculpin. But again, that's just me. Don't make all these variations if your base beer is, good enough. But I think sometimes these breweries are trying to keep the beers, on the shelf, keep the brand alive as long as possible, try to get their money out of those beers as long as possible, as long as the demand is there for something like that.
Right.
But Lee, go ahead, Jonathan Walker. Hello.
Has anybody else tried the different variants of Sculpin?
I haven't.
I've only had the normal Sculpin and the grapefruit.
I had the grapefruit and the pineapple.
Not had the pineapple yet. It's so expensive. I mean, it's
$14.99 a 6-pack.
Yeah, it's.
I look at it and frown and just shake my head. I'm like, this is bad for the beer industry.
But the grapefruit Sculpin is probably the best IPA I've ever had. I mean,
ever.
When
I tried the pineapple Sculpin, I just thought of the grapefruit Sculpin, but instead of the grapefruit flavor, it was pineapple flavor.
Well,
it is very light in pineapple
juice. It's like some lucky pineapple concoction.
Pineapple. It seems like it would overpower it with the pineapple.
No, it didn't overpower it. It's just
it was very light.
Yeah.
It just kind of tastes like it was infused with the hops, but I didn't really care for it. I personally prefer the original Sculpin the best.
The reason I like the grapefruit Sculpin is I feel the sourness of the grapefruit really complements the bitterness of the IPA just perfectly. And I'm not usually one that likes anything, any beer that has like a fruit flavoring, but the grapefruit, the sourness of it really, in my mind, complemented it. I had never seen fruit used in that way so perfectly to complement a flavor. And in that sense, it wasn't the main course. It wasn't the main point. It was like that saffron. It was like that salt, that like flavoring that just made the main course.
And it was the mouthfeel of grapefruit Sculpin that was so dynamic. It was like it had these teeny tiny little perfect bubbles in it that actually just spritzed the finish. And I've never tasted anything like that. I just thought that was incredible. So, I mean, mouthfeel is tremendously important to flavor and to beer. And I just don't think like the nitro stuff actually feels like beer. Now, as far as the Sculpin issue, once I had the grapefruit, I didn't go back for more variants. I had the regular and I had the grapefruit, and that was it for me.
Maria, have you had Old Rasputin on nitro?
On Nitro?
On Nitro.
Wow.
That is one of the beers. I had it on tap on Nitro, and that was one of the first beers I ever had on Nitro, and that was incredible. The mouthfeel was perfect for what that beer was trying to be. I found the nitrous really supported the mouthfeel and the texture of the beer. So,
what did it do to that little alcohol presence in the finish, the nitro? Did it take that away?
No.
That's a tremendously important part of the Russian Imperial Stout, is how it finishes.
Right.
And how the alcohol reveals itself at the last moment. And that's the other reason that I don't like the nitro. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't ever finish.
Nitros have their place, though.
Here in my area costs about like $9 in my area.
Damn.
What costs $9?
Again, I'm in Alabama, so what are you gonna do?
Damn, Massachusetts probably ain't much better. In terms of beer prices, I don't think it is. I think we're probably around the same.
What did you say cost $9?
Old Rasputin.
No.
I've never heard of
It's
that.
an expensive 4-pack around here. I'm trying to remember what it costs, but it's not exactly. I'm trying to think. It's like 1050 prices.
It's like 10 and
For a
change.
4-pack, yeah. But it is like what, like 10%? It's really.
I think it's 9. I think it's 9%.
Yeah.
Hey, listen to
Old
this.
Rasputin. 1050 is like
It's
10.5%.
exceptional. I mean, it's just Old Rasputin is just like exceptional in every way.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
I bet that would make
1050 is the same way too.
Old Rasputin beer bread. I bet is amazing.
That seems.
What I would like to get my
yes.
hands on is one of those barrel-aged Old Rasputins. I would like to.
I've never seen those. I've always been keeping my eyes out for those. But yeah, I have switched it up here. I tried the Guinness Draft, and I really am a fan of that as far as that kind of a beer and that kind of a beer style is concerned. I forget who was asking about that. Maybe it was Eric Anderson. I forget specifically, but since I had some of this Harp Lager in the Extraordinary Irish Beers pack, I decided, why don't I clean out my glass and get some of this Harp Lager and tell you guys about that. It's a Euro Pale Lager style, again, brewed by Guinness Limited in Dublin, Ireland. This version is Dublin.
The look of it, I just always assumed it was crap. There's something like I could just look at a glass of it and be like, that isn't good beer. I don't know.
I don't think the style. I don't think the style typically does, but I'm not getting. And by the way, it's 5% ABV. And it's a 14.9 ounce can. I don't think the style of Euro Pale Lager, or even a lot of Euro lagers in general, not to say that some of them don't, but I don't think in general that they use any of the corn or the rice type adjuncts. And in tasting this beer, and even smelling the beer, I'm not getting any adjuncty kind of notes or tinges or that sort of that cooked veggie kind of a taste. I'm not getting it. What I'm getting is a really clean. I know clean is sometimes a no-no word to craft beer, guys, but it is pretty clean and crisp and refreshing. I am getting sort of a barley malt, kind of a grainy sense to the beer. There is a little bit of almost like a honey-like sweetness, which is kind of nice, and sort of as Jay might say from Louisiana Beer Reviews, like a crackery kind of biscuity malt kind of going on. But as far as that profile is concerned, and it being a Euro Pale Lager, I would definitely say that this is a better example of just your standard typical kind of a beer that you can buy at a store. I would definitely say if you wanted to step up in the lager department and not spend, I guess, more than $9.99 or so for a 6-pack of beer, or if you get this extraordinary Irish beers variety pack, this is a pretty nice and easy drinking lager. For whatever reason, I seem to like Carlsberg as my favorite kind of a pale lager. I cannot explain that, but I absolutely love it.
I can't dismiss Carlsberg. Carlsberg is quite exceptional.
Now,
Yeah.
like Carlsberg, you can find examples. I think mostly you find examples of the Harp Lager that are bottled in green bottles, which obviously me having this can of it helps out a lot. But also the picture of the beer, the picture of the Harp Lager on Beer Advocate shows it in a brown bottle. So you can find it in all different kinds of colored bottles and in cans. So if you can find it in a can, I would probably recommend it that way because, again, you never know about green bottles. But this one obviously isn't very skunky. It's pretty nice. I guess I would go with the Bros. Maybe the Bros say 80. I might go 83 or 4 on the beer. I think it's a pretty nice and one of the better lagers that I've had.
Have y'all had Kronenbourg?
Yes,
Yeah,
1664.
Yeah,
that was good.
Maybe a month ago on Jay's channel.
That's a good beer. You
Yeah.
can't go wrong.
I had that for Christmas dinner with my folks up in Jersey. It was, they were going to say, hey, what beer is this, man? I said, Kronenbourg. I said, man, I need to buy this. This is better than Beck's, regular Beck's, or better than Heineken.
If
These
y'all
beers
have
been around for a
white
long time, guys.
or wit,
So
that's an amazing wit. Kronenbourg.
Oh, the Kronenberg. You're talking about the Kronenberg white.
Yeah, is it white or wit?
I think
What's
it's
on the
probably
label?
wit, but it's a Belgian style white. I have not tried that yet, but I've
Damn German French.
surprisingly the beer reviewers that I've seen do that beer on YouTube talk pretty highly about that wheat beer from Kronenberg.
They had it at this craft burger restaurant around here. I could have drank the whole keg dry. It was so good.
That comes in I think it's like a cobalt blue bottle, similar to
Yeah.
the Bud Light Platinum.
It's a gorgeous beer when you pour it.
Excellent. So you say in our little group chat here that you had a Guinness Blonde tonight. Is that correct there, Jonathan Walker?
Yes.
How is that? I have not tried that beer yet, so I have no clue how that thing is.
Made in Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Guinness Blonde?
Yes. That's the only place in the world it's made.
Okie dokie. I did not know that.
Yeah, what else is made in Latrobe, Pennsylvania? A whole bunch of stuff. Certain Sam Adams products.
Or local might be made over there. Oh.
Yeah.
Is Rolling Rock made there?
No,
Yeah.
not anymore. They bought it out.
It's made near me in Williamsburg, Virginia.
Oh.
They bought it out and moved the brewery.
Oh, and for all y'all that live on the East Coast, if you go buy a Stone beer and from now on, it's going to come out of Richmond.
Really?
They just opened the new brewery here in Richmond. Yeah.
Huh.
The governor of Virginia and the mayor both did a lot to get that here. I'm not going to use the words they used to get the brewery built here, but they did a lot.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So, yeah, that's some cool information. I know all
The place
these.
is huge. The plant is probably the size of a football stadium. Like, as far as how big it is huge. It takes up like probably 5 city blocks.
As all this craft beer keeps becoming popular, all these major players in craft beer are going to need to expand, and I know that
for other people. That place is huge.
I think who is it? Sierra Nevada, I think, is in South Carolina now. So I mean, even they realize they got to expand.
Yeah. Ballast Point is thinking about coming out east. They're going to build a new facility somewhere on the East Coast.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Damn,
I hope
damn,
it drops
damn,
down
damn.
prices.
Yeah.
How much is it out on the West Coast?
Eric Anderson has left the building temporarily.
Oh no.
I think he seems to talk about that beer. A lot of those beers, obviously being a lot cheaper than the prices that we normally pay for it. Like I've mentioned it before to you guys, but I can get if a Stone beer is in a 6-pack, that'll cost me about $22 or $23 for a 6-pack, which is I can buy a little bit cheaper. I can buy a cheaper pint bottle, but the 6-packs are ridiculously priced. But I don't drink a whole bunch of Stone, so.
Yeah, I thought it all tasted the same.
Yeah, sometimes they do. But you had the Guinness Draft. What do you think of that Guinness Draft now that we're?
I love this beer. I've had this since I was before 21. I've always loved it. It's got a nice sweet flavor to it. Especially when you pour it or get it on draft. I love that real creamy taste you get. That mouthfeel, and it goes down just so smooth. I know that's a bad word to say in craft beer, but
yeah,
clean,
smooth, and refreshing. No words.
crisp, clean, and refreshing. Sounds like Budweiser.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, bad. And has anybody ever had an Irish car bomb?
Yes.
Yes.
It's an experience. It's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nothing says Ireland like an Irish car bomb.
By the way, guys, have any of you ever had the Guinness Black Lager?
Yes, a long time ago.
Long time ago? I don't know if they stopped brewing this. I have a hard time finding this nowadays.
I haven't seen it.
I work at a liquor store, but we sold our last 12-pack, and I don't know if we're ever getting it back. But I haven't seen it in other stores. So what's your guys' experience with that beer if you have had it?
I haven't seen it on the shelves around here or at the distributorship where I used to work in at least a year.
So it's been, so it may be, I don't know, I haven't looked it up yet, but it might be done?
Probably.
Limited? Wow. Then this is
It
probably
didn't sell.
this is probably an older beer then, if anything. This is
Yeah,
probably not fresh.
I saw a beer on the shelf this morning. It was Goose Island Summer Lager or something. It had a born-on date of, because it's an Anheuser-Busch product now, it had a born-on date of January of 2014.
Oh, Christ. Oh.
Yeah, I was shocked. Or it might have been 15. I don't know. It was old. Yeah. The Indian lady at the convenience store was like, no, it's still good. It's still good.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go grab another glass. I got the other panelists here that are gonna join. They brought some Guinness Draft. So
hey, other
get acquainted. You know who this is, Eric Anderson.
I have no idea who this other panelist could possibly be.
Yeah.
You are full of shit. So happy St. Patty's Day, all.
Happy St. Patty's Day, Dave.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Cheers, man.
All right, let me get a Guinness ready for you, Deirdre.
All right. So, my next drink is gonna be the Guinness with the shot poured right into it. That's the way to do it, bitches.
Sounds awesome.
Well, you guys, I'm going to have to say goodnight. I lost my internet because we're having wind and a storm and a nor'easter's coming, but I'm going to wait for Eric to get back before I say goodnight to y'all. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I should probably head out too.
It was fun. Eric, I got to go. I lost my internet. We're having a nor'easter, so I'm going to get going. Thanks for having an extravaganza and for inviting me.
Yeah, that's probably a good place. That's probably a good place to end it right here. Yeah. So I guess if everybody wants to go around, I was going to say at the table, but if everyone wants to go around and say if they would buy their beers again or what they think of them, final thoughts and comments. Maria. You'll buy that beer again, obviously.
I don't mean to kill your hangout. You guys stay. I'm happy to tell you what I think of the beer. I love the Guinness imported from Ireland. This is the third time I've bought it, so it's definitely a repeat purchase. I would definitely buy it again. I think it's a tremendous stout. It's not 15%, right? So I could have this stout. It's representative of the style. It's got just the right ABV to make it so pleasant, comes in this especially big bomber-sized bottle, and is tremendously cheap at $3. I certainly would buy it again.
Sweet. Lee, you like that Nitro Stout, or Nitro IPA?
Yeah.
What do you think?
You guys know I like the Nitro. Yeah. I know you guys have been ragging on it all day.
I like it.
I like the Nitro Stout. I like how it tastes. And I have about 4 more in the fridge that I'm going to finish.
You're wrong.
Oh,
shut up, Anderson. All right, John Walker, Draft.
Take care,
You like
guys.
that? You buy that again, right? Yep.
I'm out, guys.
All right, see you later. Earth to John Walker. John Walker. All right, next, Eric Anderson.
Hey, I
This is better.
tried the...
Oh, he's back. Hold on. All right, John Walker. Your turn.
Who, me?
Yeah, would you buy your Guinness Draft again?
Hell yeah. It's medicine, dude. You gotta get the medicine.
Medicine.
Keep the doctor away.
Excellent. All right.
And by the way, what Maria said, I did try the Guinness Stout, the Irish version.
Yeah.
I thought it was an improved version, a better quality version, and I would definitely buy that more often. It was great. I had it about a week ago.
Excellent. Very awesome. All right. John Pierre from TV Rambler down in Alabama. I know you're drinking Red Hook's Audible Ale, but how is that thing going? What do you think?
It's going pretty good. As you can see, I kind of finished it. Well, here's what's going on. I got my niece and my daughter here with me right now, and I had to, as you saw, just leave, handle, kitty issues with them. And so, obviously, I took a swig of that while y'all were talking about your beer. But, yeah, I like it. I think it's a pretty decent pale ale to me from tasting it. Very, very decent, very smooth. Of all the Red Hook beers I've had consistently has been the ESB than the Audible Ale. So this is my first time trying the Audible Ale, and I probably will buy it again.
Excellent. All right, Eric Anderson, give us your spiel. I'm just going to let you go. Go. Earth to Anderson. Hello.
Mr. Anderson.
Is Mr. Anderson gone? All right, he's gone.
I think he's wrong.
Where's he at? Anderson, conversation. Talk about your beer. Do you like it?
Yes, the Guinness is good. It's better with a shot of Jameson poured into it.
Add a little Bailey's. It's great.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is Irish Carbon, which is, worldwide proven. But that's a little too much sugar for me. I don't need that sugary fucking milk shit. I'm good with just some
It
fucking
adds character.
Guinness.
Yeah,
What?
sugar adds character, right.
Oh, yeah. Suck my dick.
All right,
So,
Eric.
You like your beer with less sugar?
No, yeah, fuck sugar, dude. I don't want sugar with
Diabetic.
alcohol. I don't like sugar. I don't like sugar anyway. Like, fuck that shit. Sugar, I don't like fucking...
Don't drink high-gravity beers, then.
Yeah, no earthquake high gravity lager for
Don't
you.
drink Four Loko.
That's why I can't handle steel. Everyone says steel tastes so terrible. It's not that
It does taste terrible.
It's very sweet. That's not what people say, but that's really what it is. Like, stone
It's like
is
ethanol.
not stone. Fucking
Yes,
steel
methanol.
is fucking sweet. Like, fucking
Hurricane is the best of all of them, in my opinion.
Oh,
of
they
the
all those
high-gravities.
fucking-
Hurricane.
Okay, even if I'm trying to get drunk cheap, I will buy some decent wine for like $2.50 a bottle. You know,
You're
it's
talking
like
about
I'm gonna
booze,
buy
dude.
Two bucks shot.
Fuck wine, but wine
Ghost
is
arsenic.
better
Fuck
than
Chuck.
drinking high gravity. It's gonna be 14%. I'm gonna get my fucking fade on, and it's gonna be way better than drinking some haggard, overly sweet, gross ass fucking malt liquor. Okay, I mean, if I'm gonna, it's not like I've never drank fucking malt liquor. I have pounded many a Cobra. Okay, and I'm not above that. But I'm saying, you know what I mean? Like, what's wrong? You know, like, fuck Hurricane and fuck Steel Reserve. I'd rather drink fucking a bottle of wine.
Dave wants a Guinness conversation.
Okay, Guinness. Yeah, the extra stout is good. It's chocolatey. It's not terrible. I mean, it's not necessarily my favorite stout, but it's like, good for what it is. I got this 6-pack for $7, and fuck yeah, pour some Jameson in it, and you're good to go.
Excellent. All right, we got everything we need to know and possibly more from Anderson.
I might be drinking some wine.
You're welcome,
this
motherfucker.
weekend with the tournament games. I think you gave me something I might need to do. Give me some
Excellent.
red wine, some Carlo Rossi this weekend.
You know what's
The
great
tournament.
is that this isn't on Jay's thing, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. Penis wrinkle, motherfuckers.
Yeah. You gotta start putting the dollars in the swear jar again.
What are you, the fucking Moose Lodge? Go fuck off.
Murphy's Irish Stout, Bryson. How is that beer? Do you like it? Whoa.
It is. It nails the style for what it is and at its price point. It's hard to beat. I honestly like it better than Guinness. There's just more to it there. It's not over the top or anything like that. It's not trying to be anything more than it's trying to be. It just, presentation. It's a classy can. It drinks like it falls in the nose. I don't have any complaints about it. It really is a solid stout. I would get it again. Other than that, there really isn't much to say about it. It comes in. So this was the widget can, obviously, and that just complements the style and this beer that much more. They nailed it, and I would highly recommend it. Excellent beer.
Excellent. Panelist here, Dave. Mr. Dave, he's drinking the Guinness Draft. How would you rate that beer? What do you like about it? What's your thoughts? Would you buy it again?
Well, the first thing I'd probably go into is that when you're looking to purchase a Guinness Draft, you can either get in can or bottle. Now, actually, I challenge everyone here to try actually one of each. One in a bottle, one in a can. And I actually have had the opportunity to try it, and actually I believe, and most of the people that have come encounter believe that actually it comes out better from a can. Usually better from the pour, and usually better from the taste. For example, I've been usually feeling understanding for it. When I believe when we talk about a Guinness Draft, though, we're talking about here the traditional benchmark that we have for traditional Irish stouts. And that says a lot, too, as well. Because it's been around for a longer period of time than Murphy's and everything. So, I mean, I might be a little bit prejudiced here and there, but personally, if it comes down to me having a preference for a stout that's not imperial grade, I'll definitely take a Guinness Draft. And, I'll be happy about that either way, shape, or form. Would I purchase it again? Yes, I would. But yet again, just something for a challenge for you guys around the table. Buy one in a bottle and buy one in a can. And try it, because, from what I've tried, they taste a little different here and there. So I couldn't really tell you exactly why they do it, but they do. Maybe it's a different brewery that they've had it done from, but it's just something I'm putting on the open table for.
Yeah. My assessment is going to be the same as Dave's, which is when I tried the Guinness Draft tonight, and I've done it before, and I'm sure we all have.
Is the beer that's coming to you?
We've all bought the beer more than once, and I definitely would continue to buy the draft cans of the beer. I like the actual tapped draft version a lot better. And what I was going to say was I understand what Dave was saying about the can version seeming to be not far superior. I'm not going to say that, but it definitely is a more, to me, enjoyable experience. I think what they do is they try to regulate the nitrogen levels in the bottles a little bit differently, so they don't need to incorporate that nitrogen widget into the bottles. But I like the cans. I think it's a pretty good stout. It's pretty easygoing. If you want something that's not obviously Bud Light, but it's got the Bud Light, alcohol percentage and the same sort of a drinkability, but you want an entirely different thing than a light lager, then I think Guinness is a really good substitute for that. It's super drinkable, and it's just a really good beer. And
sessionable, very good preparing for foods.
To close out the evening here, I have the Harp Lager, and I would definitely buy the Harp Lager again. Again, being that European-style lager fan over the American, I would definitely go with this one. I like how it has that honey-type sweetness. It doesn't really have an adjunct corn or rice flavor. It's pretty smooth, mellow, easygoing, but it's got more of the actual beer qualities that they're using to brew the beer with. So it's pretty good style. The bros gave it an 80. I would probably give it an 80, I guess 84. It's pretty good.
Oh boy, black and golds?
Yes, the black and gold. Yes. Harp and Guinness Draft. We might have to try that later. I got one more can of this stuff. We can try it later. So, anybody with closing comments, thoughts, opinions before we call it a do on the live chat?
Does anybody know the most popular beer in England?
In England?
Budweiser.
Carling. Carling Black Label.
Black Label.
And that's a beer I never hear people talk about. Can y'all get it? It's a beer I want to do a review on.
I think that would, right, Dave? I think that would be a hard beer to find in our area. Carling Black Label.
I don't know if I'll be able to get that one, the Carling one, but I'll see. I'll check my craft beer place to see.
Just Carling, not Black Label, just Carling.
Carling, right? I'll see if I have it there.
Yeah, at some point when I find that beer, challenge accepted on that. That might be cool.
Yeah, like the distributor says the only place you'll find it is around colleges and hipster areas.
Carling.
That's what they told me. College area for ourselves. So.
Yeah, we're sort of near the Boston and Providence, Rhode Island area, so
well,
we're right in that area.
Providence, Rhode Island, full of hipsters. Like Brooklyn, New York is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Richmond's full of hipsters too.
I think New England in general
Minneapolis is full of them.
I need to open up a salon dedicated to beards.
Dedicated to. I like that. Do it up, son. All right. As I say on my beer review channel, raise a glass, everybody. Raise your glasses. Let's do it quick. Even if it's empty, do it. I say, until next time.
Toast, everyone. This has been fun. Happy St. Patty's Day.
Until next time, keep
Hell yeah.
beers. Cheers.
Whatever the Catholics say.
Cheers. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Goodbye to the 0 viewers watching us live around the world.